years ago, and you will hear it from the voices of those who were there. This is the first in the series of Ipadi talks on issues relevant to our people. Call 223-8852 to 3 to reserve your seat. Ipadi talks, celebrating our heroes. The Barbie Slave Revolution, Saturday, August 31st, Theatre Guild, Georgetown, 5 p.m. Do you want to know what happened?
Never Joe, never Joe.
Bring out the family for a day of business, culture, and entertainment this Sunday, August 25, at the CAMS TV Society for African Guyanese Empowerment and 1st of August Movements Business and Cultural Expo at Benjamin's
Keep a fire burning ready. Keep a fire burning red in a Joshua representing for comes hard here, you know. Big up Kidaki, Buxton massive. Hey Babylon boy, you go on like you know, like come son. Red.
Never joke, never joke, never joke. Oh, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. I know what you can have in money. Money, never money, money, never money, money. You can keep, you can have in money. When you've been out for a bum, you have been there be money. Now because your money down, you come with conniving money. When you had your pocket full, you have been there be money. Now because your money down, you hustle for tell me money. Yes, money, never money, never money, money, never money, money. Now I know what you conniving money. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. Neighbor, neighbor, joker. That's all the money that me walk for. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. A 2 pound note and a kill that piece. This is all the money that me walk for. I said money, neighbor, money, neighbor, money, money, neighbor, money, money. I don't want you can I be money. Oh, Joseph.
Guyana and Guyanese, at home and abroad. Tune in the Guyanese Morning Time, hosted by Kadaki Amsterdam, where the sun always shines. Guyanese Morning Time, the people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people call it Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. We rise up early morning watching Comes TV, where wisdom and knowledge, yes, it is the key. Exposing corruptions over land and sea, where the wicked politicians they try to trick me. Guyana is a land for everybody. With 6 races should live in harmony. Is one set of people getting aisle money. Is one set of people doing the thievery. Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. This is a program that you all can see. Sharing your views and your integrity. Like it, comment and share it all around. Pass it to your neighbor, safe and sound. A sad situation going on in this town. The voice of the people is getting trampled down. Out of the mouths of babes and sucklings, which has ordained me to sing. I sing Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, fooling the people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. Stop fooling people. You're promoting evil. Stop lying to the people. You are a part of the cycle. I say, Guyanese Morning Time. The people calling Guyanese Morning Time. Rhythm, rhythm, Guyanese Morning Time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go go again. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again. They got Breakford, Bork and Mark Benchcop. David Hines and Kadaki Amsterdam. Sherrod Duncan, Nigel London. Normal Brown and Gavin Matthews. Big up Paslow, both people governor. Simona Brooms, Robin Simpson. Hampton Green and Winston Jordan. And yes, we can go right on and on. Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again, Guyanese morning time. The people calling Guyanese morning time. Rhythm, Guyanese morning time. Intelligence and knowledge run the front line. We go again.
The relatives and friends of young Wyndham Bacchus, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of our in Boston, they deserve justice. The family, the relatives and friends of Peter Headley, they deserve justice.
And so when we say that Guyana is an apartheid state, we have the evidence to show.
Do you want to know what happened in 1763 during the Berbice Revolution? On Sunday, August 31st, you can come and hear Professor Marjorie Cars, author of the book Blood on the River. This is your opportunity to learn what really happened hundreds of years ago, and you will hear it from the voices of those who were there. This is the first in the series of Ipadi G talks on issues relevant to our people. Call 223-8852-3 to reserve your seat. Ipadi G talks, celebrating our heroes. The Berbice Slave Revolution, Saturday, August 31st, Theatre Guild, Georgetown, 5 p.m. Bring out the family for a day of business, culture, and entertainment this Sunday, August 25, at the CAMS TV Society for African Guyanese Empowerment and 1st of August Movements Business and Cultural Expo at Benjamin's Lawn, the Tipperary Hall, Buxton. Expo starts at 11. Bring out your family. Support services, agro businesses, manufacturing. Yes, booths available. Call 682-7981 for information. Expo starts at 11. Come out, support the businesses, exhibiting for success.
Region 4, the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union will be hosting its annual general meeting for the period 2021 to 2022 on Sunday, the 25th of August, 2024 for members of Region Number 4. The meeting will be convened at the Critchlow Labor College, Wolford Avenue at 10 hours. Members are encouraged to pre-register at bit.ly/GPSCCU AGM 2024 for further instructions on how to take part in the meeting and to vote for a committee of management. The meeting will take place both online and in person at various locations across the country. Full participation of members is encouraged. Let us move your credit union forward. The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union. People helping people.
1st of August Movement Buxton, CAMS TV, and Society for African Guyanese Empowerment invite you to the Business and Cultural Expo this Sunday at Benjamin's Lawn opposite Tipperary Hall, Buxton. Expo starts at 11 a.m. Come out, support your service providers, agro-based businesses, and manufacturers. Yes, the Buxton Business and Cultural Expo. Bring out the entire family for a day of fun and business. Come one, come all. Booths available. Exhibitors call 682-7981 for more information. The Business and Cultural Expo, exhibiting for success.
Comes out your son. You burn the swine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want you climb, cause them heart no kind. Comes, I say them heart no kind. Buxton Massive, Kidaki, Red Hat.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Every night, every day, like you do.
Morning, neighbor, morning. Are you morning? Are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 20 on the 22nd day of August in the year 2024. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. Welcome to the program. It's Thursday, isn't it? Yes, it is Thursday. So we are going to have karaoke tonight at Club Twilight. Please come on down and support the thing. Come and have some fun, carry your own key and so on and so forth. Let's make it a night to remember. And it is also the day when we have Mr. Jordan on speaking about the economy. And so today we will have him speaking about the economy. But before I call Mr. Jordan, I want us to have a listen to a conversation that former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Carl Greenwich, had with Kiana Wilborg, I think is the young lady's name from Kaicho News some years ago. Because Mr. Jordan referenced that conversation yesterday. And so I played that conversation for you. But in the meantime, how you do? How are you been? How was yesterday? How was last night? How you feel this morning? You wake up with any aches and pains? We geriatrics, we just wake up with aches and pains sometimes, you know. Every day is not the same day. Good? Likewise, when we leave for work like yesterday and so on, every day is not catching day, but every day is fishing day. Oh yeah, Meko, these are things we want to know about. Get? What are you enthusiastic about today? What do you think can change in this country to make it a better place? How do you think we can achieve those changes? I'm asking, I don't have the answers. But what I do have is Carl Greenwich talking with Kiana Wilberg of Kaito Radio back then. Listen up.
Thank you very much for that comment there, Mr. Greenwich. Quite detailed, and really it is important. Many of the points that you raised there, but I want to touch very quickly on two matters that the previous administration was particularly heavily criticized for. And if we can just jump into a bit of perhaps who were some of the individuals behind it, and if there's any regret to date in hindsight. And the first issue that I wanted to examine was the sign-in bonus. This is a matter that has been heavily reported on, and many have said over the years, well, why was there the secrecy in the first place? So with that said, and given your attention to the matter as well, do you have any regrets about how the Granger administration would have handled this matter, particularly as it relates to the secrecy? And do you know who might have been the persons behind the negotiation of this signing bonus?
Well, first of all, as regards the question of regrets, I would say to you that one of the problems that one encounters in any set of discussions in Guyana is the extent of emotional and uninformed comment. I would say that to begin with.
Okay.
And again, I will refer, because you don't have to take my opinion for it, former colleague Clive Thomas, who has been running for the last year or more a column in the newspapers on the sorry about that, on the myths and misrepresentations associated with the returns that the government of Guyana will get and is getting from the petroleum sector. And I mean, he spent a lot of time providing us with information on that. Most of the debate takes no account of such findings. And I would say to you that you might think me or think I'm being harsh by being dismissive of quite a lot of the criticism, because of course we have a tendency in Guyana is that if something is repeated a couple of times, then the whole country takes it up and takes it as gospel. And I just draw your attention to the fact that Global Witness, for example, which saw it fit to publish a report on Guyana in this regard, and publish that report, notwithstanding the comments sent to them about the fact that they were replacing their own speculation with those of the government, and there was no reason for us to believe or to accept that what they were saying was accurate or based on any better information than we had. They published it, and after it had damaged the government internationally and domestically, the report was withdrawn. The report of Global Witness was withdrawn, a report which completely castigated the government. It had nothing good to say about what was done. It more or less accused people of corruption and the like. what I would say to you as regards this matter is the following. And I don't propose to, because in any case I don't think we have enough time. I don't propose to go over the points that were made about why it was not appropriate at the time to make this a matter of public discourse. I would simply say to you that the discussions that took place with Exxon were no different from the discussions that took place between CGX and the government of Guyana. Okay? That is, when the government of Guyana, that is the PP administration, decided that Suriname should be taken to the relevant agency, in this case, it had to be the UNCLOS arbitration tribunal, because Suriname was a member of UNCLOS. The government of Guyana briefed CGX, and whether or not they say that they were involved, the reality is that they were involved. Okay, the private company can't take the matter to court without your agreement or say so, and that is in effect what happened. They may not have handed, CGX may not have handed the money to the government of Guyana formally, but if CGX hadn't paid the government, the lawyers, then the lawyers would have had to be paid by the government of Guyana. They had an agreement between them of that nature. And that agreement has not been, never was the subject of any public discussion. And that is why I say that this is a country where public debate is often driven by ignorance and misrepresentation. That is what happened in relation to the CGX case, which we won. In the case of Exxon, the same thing happened. I have here a note from an oil company asking the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to brief the chief executive of the company on the prospects for petroleum as we understood it, the prospects of going beyond exploration, the prospects of winning a case if the matter came to that, and whether it would have been wise for the company to proceed with this matter, which is what Exxon did. And we briefed Exxon, as I'm sure the PPP had briefed other companies that came to them after the CGX, or even during the time when they were going to CGX. And in this case, the company again offered to fund, in part or in its entirety, the court case. It was, what was perhaps unfortunate was that the arrangement then attracted the title of a signing bonus. The arrangement, the discussion with CGX, with Exxon's executive and so forth, involved a discussion on assistance with concluding the court case so that Guyana could get on with its business. And there was nothing disreputable or illegal about such an arrangement, and nothing that arrangement involved monies going directly or indirectly or at all to ministers, to the individuals who are party to the discussion. Nothing like that was ever the arrangement. And I think, frankly, that the commentaries about the danger of this money being stolen, or that the intention was to steal the money, I would just say that I would treat them with the contempt they deserve. Because if you know the people that were involved, then they didn't have to wait for Exxon and such monies to be bribed. Okay?
Can you say who were the people involved?
The discussion had two parts. Sorry?
Can you say who were the people involved?
Who were involved in what exactly?
In the negotiations of what eventually was termed the signing bonus. Can you say who were the persons or the government officials involved?
Let me put it this way: that the discussions with Exxon that launched this arrangement were discussions with the head of Exxon and with Foreign Affairs. Okay?
Okay.
The subsequent arrangement that involved and those discussions stopped at the provision of monies for the payment of lawyers. It was no more than that. The subsequent elements, which were agreed by the cabinet now, it's entirely a cabinet decision now. Cabinet received a report that this is what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had discussed with Exxon. This is what Exxon was prepared to do. Cabinet then decided to proceed, and at that point, it became a matter for the Ministry of Natural Resources in particular, because the agreement that you will see that subsequently cabinet approved was an agreement with elements that had nothing to do with skills that Foreign Affairs had, or that areas in which Foreign Affairs needed or sought to make any decisions. Okay, so that's what I would say to you. I'm not giving you the entire list of names of persons involved, but from the discussion on the funding of the lawyers was a discussion at and for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There were others, and there were two other people involved. One of whom was a member of the cabinet too.
Okay. Mr. Greenwich, as we would have started the show noting, we're very much pressed for time. We are actually over the time that is supposed to be allotted for a paid program. So what I would like to do is to say...
So there you have it. That was former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Greenwich, Carl Greenwich, chatting with Keanu Wilbur. I hope that's the person. I really don't know who the person is, but the program is there. Like by line there is with Keanu Wilbur. So I guess that's Keanu Wilbur. And so I'm going to call Mr. Jordan now, so that we could proceed with this morning's program. Jordan on the economy. Mr. Jordan, good morning.
Good morning.
I hope you were tuned in and you heard that segment there with Mr. Greenwich talking with Taicho News about the issue of the signing bonus and so on. And basically, I would say corroborating some of the things you said, or all of the things you said yesterday. Well, the mic is yours. How you doing?
Yes.
How was it last night? How is it this morning?
Yeah. Yeah, good morning, good morning. Yes, I'll come back to the issues, some of the issues that were raised. Actually, I got a short morning, but so we tried to fit in some of the stuff really. But I want to start off by sending condolences to Winfield James's family. You know, Winfield, don't know if everybody remembers Winfield James.
Aye?
But he was a mash designer and a calypsonian.
You didn't hear the song, man? Aye?
Aye, yes, boy.
Boy?
Yes, boy. Yes, a good friend, a really good friend. I think he might have
he is. As a matter of fact, I think he has some Buxtonian or friendship roots. I'm
Yes.
told that he has a brother here. I'm not sure. I am only told.
Yes, yes, definitely. And yes, I understand he was ailing for a while. And so may he rest in peace. And the good thing is that he can meet up the old partner rebel.
And they're gonna sing more calypso.
And they're gonna sing calypso while Dave gonna watch on or time it. Dave Martin.
It's a whole crew.
Yeah, it's a big bangarang gonna go on up there. Big bangarang. And also I sent out condolences to the family and relatives and friends of Miss Genevieve White Net.
What?
I don't know if you remember her.
What?
Yes, she was the acting CEO of Ministry of Education, who was brutally, I would say,
mistreated by the PPP.
Yes, right? Never appointed CEO. I tell you, look, listen, this regime here, well, of course, we all people don't learn anything as much after they go through how much they go through the 20 years and put the coalition in power. And after what we were trying to do, these people are back after a couple of years of coalition and continue to do even worse today. But I condolence to the lady, a really lovely person who was brutally cast aside. And, you know, and I don't know if many people remember Edward Caesar also, but he hasn't died. But he went through the same thing where he was bypassed as chief education officer, and I don't remember whether the matter went to court or so on, but subsequently he was appointed. This took place under the minister of Dale Bismarck. Dale Bismarck when Dale Bismarck was minister. Remember, and that man had a title called Reverend in front of his name, Reverend Dale Bismarck. Okay, and Caesar was bypassed.
You know, I almost say I didn't know Caesar because that long name you call, I know the man only as Ed Caesar. The whole nation know the man as Ed Caesar.
Yes, definitely. Yes, his headquarters Ed Caesar as those who know him well would say. Of course, in passing also, I also have a bit of a death in the family. My eldest sister died.
Condolences, man.
Yes, so condolences all around. Yeah, so coming back to the Greenwich tape, I think there was some level of clarity and confirmation. And one particular aspect he mentioned there that I continue to mention is that what the cabinet decided. You see, because you know, before David exited yesterday from the program, he mentioned something to the effect that he would have met with Minister Trotman and that he expressed WPA's point about or being weary of not going public and whatnot. All right? Now, this was a time when the WPA had its elder, who's now its elder, Dr. Rupert in cabinet. And therefore, if WPA had a position that was expressed to Minister Trotman, and they have an erudite person in the form of Dr. Rupert in the cabinet, that at least if cabinet is not unanimous, then the opinion of WPA might have been expressed at that time, notwithstanding the fact that the cabinet might have made a decision that it ultimately. But my brother, I don't know why we bring these things into public when we know differently, because no position, no negative position, nobody expressed any contrary position in the cabinet based on the report that was given and based on the fact that this matter should remain silent as far as possible. Nobody made any dissension or acts of any dissension they put into the minutes or any such thing. You know? So sometimes I look at these different positions that are adopted from time to time and I shake my head and wonder, I say, you know, sometimes that's why maybe sometimes it's very difficult to manage coalitions. And And you could see what is happening even as we speak, right? When it comes to coalition itself. He also brought out the fact that I also mentioned, and we keep mentioning all the time, that the PPP government had got $10 million from CGX. They may not have got it in their hands, but CGX put $10 million for the government of Guyana to go to UNCLOS, UNCLOS. The acronym UNCLOS means United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. And since Guyana and Suriname were members of UNCLOS, then they could carry the termination of the matter, the Guyana and Suriname matter to there, and they required money. And CGX put up $10 million that was never made known to the public. That is what Greenwich reiterated, and that is what I said, and that is why we often said it was never made known to the public. It was never brought into the accounts of the government of Guyana. Never. Nobody ever mentioned it. Even when it came subsequently to the public's attention, nobody gave any grief. Nobody gave any grief. And we did not have the kind of situation with Suriname that we got with Venezuela. And that is why I was absolutely with one with Greenwich when he said in this country here, right, you get all kinds of things, but very often it is aimed at only one type of government. The other that has spent the last 28, 29 years ruling this country gets a free pass. Gets a free pass, literally. Look what taking place today. But in a case where we had delicate negotiations in relation to not a signing bonus, they keep going. He also made mention in that clip that it wasn't a signing bonus. It was style signing bonus, but it was financing being given by Nixon for the purpose of payment of lawyers and so forth for us to prosecute our case at the World Court, the ICJ. You know. But not all politics is local. Not all politics is local. You had said this thing that when documents started to surface. There were not documents that started to surface. What surfaced was the letter that was written by the finance secretary of the Ministry of Finance to the Bank of Guyana, requesting the opening of the account to receive the monies from Exxon. That's the letter that surfaced. And in my opinion, there are only two institutions that had that letter. The sender, which is the Ministry of Finance, and the receiver, which is the Bank of Guyana. So the letter had to be put in the public domain after a long time from one of these two institutions. That letter asked the Bank of Guyana to open an account. And the name of that account that was opened at the Bank of Guyana was styled BOG, Ministry of Finance, Exxon Mobil account. That was the name of the account. BOG, Ministry of Finance, Exxon Mobil account. That was the name of the account at Bank of Guyana. The letter that went to Bank of Guyana did not mark secret. It was not marked secret. It was an ordinary, regular letter to open the account. The signatories to that account were three public servants, as I remember. The Finance Secretary, the Deputy Finance Secretary, and the Accountant General. And yesterday I posted that the 18 million was invested by the Bank of Guyana. The 18 million US was invested by the Bank of Guyana. And by the time we close the account and transfers the monies to the consolidated fund, which is the government of Guyana's main bank account, it had interest not only the 18 million that was transferred, but interest of roughly 406,000. I think it was the exact amount was 400 and I think it was 479,000 and $479,082.99 US. Okay, so that was the situation with the quote unquote signing bonus. Now, like we said yesterday, this is the silly season, and so they will continue to make mileage out of nothing. But as I said, the objective of getting our case to the ICJ has been met. That objective has been met. We have won every round in the ICJ so far, and we're waiting on the final round, which we know we will win ultimately. All thanks to the management of this matter by the coalition government. You know, people don't know the animal that they're dealing with when it comes to the people. Notwithstanding the problems we're having with Venezuela, those people will still tell us after the rights deal was abrogated that we must go and get back the rights deal. A transactional government, if ever they were one. A transactional government. And those are the kind of people we deal with. And those are the kind of people we don't make a study of. We make a study of a coalition government who was in office for a mere 3.5 years, who was in government for a mere 3.5 years, and in office for about 5 years thereabouts. But like I said, this matter, I'm sure will be continued, but it's for people who are friends and supporters of the coalition or parties in coalition to continue to repel the nonsense that is being made of a serious matter, so to speak. I want to give you a parallel situation. In fact, let me give you back that. The now Attorney General actually took the coalition to court to get us to transfer the monies to the consolidated fund, claiming that the account in which it was held was illegal. Right? The special account in which it was held at the Bank he claimed that it was illegal and he wanted a judicial review. I don't know whatever happened to that matter, but I know I helped our lawyers to prepare a reply to his affidavit. I don't know whatever happened to the matter. I think the matter was before the Chief Justice, but I don't know whatever happened to that matter. But get this, you know, somewhere around December of 2022, it was announced that Hess operation, that is part of the oil drillers out there production, because it's Exxon, Hess, and Sina. It was announced that Hess had purchased, I think, some $750 million worth of carbon credit. Right? Let's keep that figure in mind. $750 million in carbon credit to be disbursed over a period of 8 years. In other words, up to 2030. Right? It was from 2020 up to 2030. And that upon the announcement of that gifting, 75 billion was made available immediately. US 75 billion was made available to the government of Guyana immediately in December of 2022. In addition, in 2023, another 2 payments totaling US 75 billion US was also made. So within the short space of between 2022 and 2023, the government of Guyana received $150 million US dollars. $150 million US dollars. With more to come in 2024, 2025, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. But let us deal just with the $150 million that they will have received. Does anybody in Guyana know where that money has been put? All we hear that it was received. Do we know where that money has been put? Is it in Dubai? Is it in the Cayman Islands? Or is it in some other country? Do we know? Has anybody asked? They asked so many questions about the 18 million. Do we know so far about the 150 million US? Is it at Bank of Guyana? If it's at Bank of Guyana, what's the name of the account? Who are the beneficiaries? Sorry, who are the signatories to the account? If it's at Bank of Guyana. Is Bank of Guyana investing in it? Where? In which bank in the United States? Is it at the Federal Reserve Bank? Is it at the Rigs Bank? Which bank in the United States? Is the money earning interest? Is the money earning interest? How much interest has it earned so far? What has been done with the interest that it has earned? Is the money in the budget? Is there a budget line showing us so that we could actually pinpoint the uses of this money? All of these questions, but nobody's asking. And nobody's asking with the frequency with which they ask about the signing bonus. And ultimately have got answers, whether they like it or not. But this is 750 million US, not 18. 750 million US. And this is not the first time that the PDP government has been in receipt of massive sums of money of this nature. One just has to recall what was called the Petro-Carib arrangement. Remember I told you about the deals that they had with Venezuela while the PDP was in government. And one of those deals was the Petro-Carib arrangement. And a Petro-Carib account was open, again a special account, was open. And this account was open overseas, not even at Bank of Guyana. It was open in a foreign bank. It was open in a foreign bank in the United States, not even at Bank of Guyana. And that account received over time over $1 billion US dollars. Over $1 billion US dollars it received. And by the time we got into power in May of 2015, it only had $800,000 US dollars in it. $800,000 US dollars it had in it. Because of forensic audit to be done on that account. And the report, I believe, was sent to the police. And I believe out of that report, certain people were charged.
Can you recall quickly some of the issues identified from that forensic audit?
I don't want to talk about the tone because those are no police and legal matters.
Okay, sir.
But the gist of it, apparently, was that certain things weren't right. And so the report was handed over to the police. And I think on their investigations and so on, certain people were charged. Right? Certain people were charged. And I believe ultimately, for whatever reason, which is another story, but a lot of people say, that all these things going on, and coalition never charges people and so on, which is, again, I don't know sometimes, I don't know where people get these things from. You know, and then when you explain these things, they say, oh, the PR was bad. But the PR was bad in some instances, yes. But some of these matters were so much in the public domain ad nauseum. So people don't want to admit, well, I forget, yes, now that you tell me, I don't remember that story and so on. But I'm sure, I know where this matter was. There were other matters, right? Because the coalition had recruited, I think, 5 or 6 special prosecutors to deal with the matters coming out of the forensic audits. I don't know if people remember that. We have recruited 5 or 6 special prosecutors to deal with it. And that in itself was another issue altogether. So there's a number, as I said, there are a number of issues with some of which in the public domain, some are not in the public domain. But maybe when people write their memoirs, maybe they will, and they really want to delve into these matters with seriousness and depth, that maybe some of it will come out, or all of it will come out eventually. But a number of matters that I'm talking about were in the public domain. They were in the public domain, so to speak. So it is not necessarily true to say, oh, well, you know, coalition had the opportunity to. And some other people speak so much of the torn. Oh, the coalition was there. Why did they remove the DPP? You can't remove the DPP. The DPP is a constitutional office. And to remove a constitutional holder, the steps are in the Constitution. But not because you don't like the DPP or another constitutional post holder that you could just wake up and send them a letter of dismissal. That's not how it works. But you will see these things, people come on these shows and palaver over these matters and cuss out Granger, but not removing the DPP and not removing this one and not removing that one, without understanding that these are constitutional positions. And the Constitution lays out the method and the mechanism and the reasons where constitutional holder can be removed. So constitutional holder, for example, cannot be removed unless they cannot perform the functions anymore through ill health or whatnot, for misbehavior in office or whatever the case may be. I think it's only 2 or 3 reasons. And even then, you have to set up tribunal, you have to do this, you have to do that, and all these different stories. So you don't just wake up tomorrow and send a letter to the DPP and say, here, you're dismissed. But people will come on these shows and cuss out Granger for not moving DPP, not moving this and that, without even understanding the simple basics and mechanisms. People will pick up that and run with it and say, yes, stupid Granger, he had the time, he didn't do it and all kind of story. You know? And but for the fact that a lot of these people look like me and you or sound like me and you and so on, it makes you wonder about our educational process. Right? It makes you wonder about our educational process. But I hold nothing against the people. As they say, it's their view. Better right. And it's for programs like these, educational as they are, to correct them, right, or to advise them or clarify or whatever the case may be. And that's why I continue to be on this program, and this program only, because it offers me an opportunity to clarify, expand, and all these kind of different stories for people, and hope that they will come off a better person than when they actually started. But so that is it. So next time they come, don't get consumed with 80 million. I think everything about the 80 million is out there. Start asking about the $750 million in carbon credits, of which $150 million has already been received by the government, and another portion is to be received this year. Who is controlling this fund? Who is controlling this fund? Number one. Number two, we know that they said 15% of the amounts will go to the indigenous communities. Where is the rest going? Where is the rest going? And why? Why why a percentage is not identified for African Guyanese and related communities. Why? Why does the government get to determine what percentage goes to the indigenous community and how the rest will be without even the so-called parliament having a say in these matters? Why is there no commission or committee set up to determine how these monies are to be? After all, doesn't the forest belong to every single soul in Guyana? And while the indigenous people are the keepers of the forest, as they say, wasn't it the African Guyanese, descendants of Africans, who came here originally and humanized many of the areas? Are they entitled to something? Everywhere we go, we get a raw deal. We get nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. Everywhere we go. Carbon credits are sharing. One community gets. There's nothing for the African communities. Oil money is sharing. Individuals what individuals get. There's nothing for the African communities. Isn't it time also that some of us who come onto these shows and delivering what Better didn't do and what he do and so on, divert our energies now to more living problems, especially in the African Guyanese community? Many of these problems being papered over by a grant here and a little job there and all these kinds of things. In this big day and age, and you tell me if I'm wrong, you could still go down East Coast, East Bank, and all the different areas, and you could identify which is an African village versus which is another community's village. And invariably, the African village always have that rundown travel appearance. Why? Money is circulating in that community. And it's not that they don't want to do better, but they don't have the wherewithal to do better. I mean, how do you compare a $15 million contract with a $1.5 billion contract to another community? How do you compare it? I see some people around my community, they're cleaning drains, right? They're pulling out the weeds and weeding out and so on. Predominantly Africans, of course, right? And I'm sure the contract to them, for whoever the contract is, small contractor, contract, I don't know, 10 million, 5 million, whatever the case may be, right? The drains might be clean in that similar fashion next year again. So if that is the one contract that poor man got, right? Large labor force is female. You know, first of all, the small size of these contracts and the infrequency of them, how will these communities survive? These are matters to me that are more pressing. There are more matters that the opposition got to pay more to, the supporters got to pay more to, the civil societies got to pay more to, and so on, and all these other different people who brain all over the place. Because as a collective, the money is circulating and the matching when it comes to the African communities. And we don't want to say it because we're afraid, and especially in political season, we don't want to say it because we're afraid. But there was an article in this week's papers, I believe, earlier this week. I don't know whether the article was right. I don't know whether the numbers are right or so on. But get this, let us go strictly on the article itself. It says that the government went into Morocco, which is an indigenous community, and shared out $100,000 to 2,000 residents, not households, to 2,000 residents. Well, that would be to Morocco, so I don't know what is the size of Morocco, how many people live in Morocco. But of course, it can't be thousands, tens of thousands. But in the little community of Morocco, the government went in and shared out $100,000 to 2,000 residents, not households. And they said, this 100,000 is a small business grant. No, I don't know what I don't know what it is 2,000. I don't know what this is small business is 2,000 people are going to be getting involved in. But right away, 2,000 multiplied by 100,000 to give you about 200 million. So that in one go, $200 million is put into a small indigenous community, ostensibly for small business grants. And we have seen this kind of distribution and this kind of dust in your eye situation where these grants are concerned. I remember that it was last year, there was a big commotion in Region 5 because people had heard small business grants were being shared out. I think those grants were about 250,000 because previously they had gone to Region 6 and shared out these 250,000. If you are sharing out the amount of small business grants that have been shared out, since this government came into power, you should not have had an employment issue in this country today. But where are these small businesses? Where are these small businesses? Where are the tracer studies to indicate what these grants have, what these so-called small business grants, what people have done with them, whether they were indeed startups, whether the business is still going, and so on. You think it's easy just to walk in a village, hand out $100,000 that you claim is small business grants. Don't go back or don't offer the people the necessary assistance. And you can go back and find a poultry farm, a big rearing farm, a mango tree, you know, a black pudding place, whatever the case may be, a hair braiding place, and so on. Or they are more likely to take the $100,000 and give them the cost of living and so on. That they're more likely to use that $100,000 for their immediate needs. There's nothing anyhow stopping them from using it for the immediate needs because they're not signing anything that says you must use the $100,000 and so on, and if you don't use it, then you have to pay back and so on. So this is clearly a vote buying scheme, a vote buying farm, using the state's money for the purpose of votes, under the guise of small business. But people are afraid to touch the issue. They're afraid if they touch it, you can hear you don't like Amerindians. Right? Or they're afraid if they touch it, it's going to be used by the other side to paint you red or white or black or blue or anti-this or anti-that. Meanwhile, as you rightly said, the folks who give you the most votes, they suffer in silence. They suffer in silence and want to know why they were born black. Because it seems as if being born black is a crime against humanity. Those are the things that people need to speak up about because what is happening in Guyana is not right. It is not right. Already, the oil in trickling down. Everybody complaining. And they're complaining rightly. And that allows me quickly to segue into this last point because I got to go. There was a big headline, I think last week or this week, I think it's this week, about pensioners' electricity subsidy to be reintroduced this month.
I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah, more election vote, more vote buying.
Right.
Go ahead.
Money to be paid directly to GPL. So essentially that was headline. The subsidy is $30,000 per year, which works out about $2,500 per month. And those that are applicable or who can get the subsidy are those who have obviously who own house or renting house, and the electricity meter or electricity account is registered in their name, right? So to qualify, let us see if you belong the criteria. To qualify, obviously you have to be an old age pensioner, which means 65 plus. You have to own a house, or you must be renting a house, and that the meter or the electricity account must be in the pensioner's name. Well, let us quickly look at this. When we came to power in May 2015, this nonsense was in place. This discrimination was in place. And not only in the case of electricity, also in water. That the water meter or the water bill had to be in the name of the pensioner. So my friend, let us put it this way. All old age pensioners get $36,000 a month. But now, some of them now are going to be, notwithstanding all of them, facing the same cost of living, all the increases in prices and so on. Some of them are now going to be favored for an electricity subsidy and a water subsidy. Because I think the water subsidy is already in place. It's already in place. If this government know how to divide and rule, they have mastered it. They have mastered the divide and rule. So I'm living next door to my neighbor. My neighbor owns the house. And she is getting a water subsidy. But I'm over here, I don't own this house. This meter, that's in my name. But you know what? I don't drink water. So I don't qualify for subsidy as a pensioner. I don't drink water. Right? So I must pay out to the 36,000 and go and buy bottled water to bathe and drink and cook and everything else. That is the nonsense. That is the foolishness. That is the divide and rule that this government is accustomed to. And how many pensioners, 65 plus, own their own homes? My friend, if you own your own home as a pensioner, on average, you must be above the threshold. You must be above the threshold. On average. So it means that Mr. X, who's the general manager, owns the own home on a 65 plus, is going to get the subsidy. Miss Y, who is a chief accountant, is going to get the subsidy if they own their own home. Mr. Z, who is a social worker and is a tenant, but have the meter in their name, they're going to get the subsidy. But Mrs. A, B, C, and D, who are retired civil servants and only just qualify for the old age pension, they're not going to get this subsidy. So when we came into power in 2015, we saw this nonsense. Right? We saw this nonsense. What we found that on the role of the pensioners, there were 42,307 pensioners in 2015. Obviously, that number might have grown since then. And only 30% of those 42,307 pensioners were benefiting from the electricity subsidy. Only 30%. It means then that roughly 29,680 people were not benefiting concern is the pensioners who are not benefiting from the electricity subsidy. And in the case of water, only 62% of the pensioners were benefiting from water subsidy. So that means another 16,110 pensioners who are not benefiting from the subsidy. And so we said, as in the case of the removal of the special bonus to the discipline services, that this discrimination must stop. And we promptly incorporated both subsidies into the pension for every pensioner. We removed the discrimination. Incorporated the water subsidy and the electricity subsidy into the pension. So that every pensioner got the same pension. Every pensioner got the same pension. And let me show you some of the folly in this nonsense, in this thing. They said in the release that the amount, this 30,000, I don't know whether the 30,000 will be credited as a one shot or whether $2,500 will be credited every month. But whatever it is, they said that it would be credited to your account at GPL. So if you have an electricity account at GPL, then you will see at the end of this month a figure that marks a credit. I don't know if it's 30,000 or what you will say a credit. So what does it tell you? Look at this asinine thing. GPL, as everybody knows, does not transmit and distribute electricity to the entire country. For example, in Linden, GPL does not distribute nor transmit electricity in Linden. That is done by the Bosai people who run in the bauxite company there. Similarly, there are a number of places that in the hinterland that GPL, they get electricity, like for example in Letem. They get electricity but not from GPL. So you're telling me then that those people now, I think the command is something called the hinterland electricity, something, I always said to them 5 or 6 or 7 of them, different small companies, Letem and all these different places. So you're telling me then that the pensioners in Letem who don't have an account at GPL, but who get electricity are not going to get the subsidy. That is what you're saying. I mean, that is what is being said based on this announcement.
Well, I just saw an ignore by the name of Miranda Bong say the pensioner is not living free at the house, and so the government should not be paying what I should say the landlord's water wage.
No, so the pensioners get look. Look, you can get those, and I don't need to answer. I don't need them to put me off track. Okay, you can get those. They are good to always just span in the works. But those who got sense will incorporate and imbibe of what is being said. Okay, they are going to imbibe of what is being said. The long and short, it is discriminatory. That's the long and short. Because if a pensioner doesn't have to pay out of the $36,000 anymore for electricity, they have a saving that they could use for something else. But it's unlike the other person. Okay? The government claimed that this money was voted in the budget. So why are you waiting until the 8th month to put in place a measure that you said was already in the budget? This is not a new measure. This was a measure that was voted in the budget that came out on the 15th of January. So why are you waiting 8 months afterwards to put this measure in place? To old people, as they say, geriatric. They like to use the word geriatric, as they say. Why are you waiting 8 months afterwards to put it in place? I don't know what more can be said of a government that you have that wakes up, comes up with a measure, and it ends up being a nightmare. Comes up with a half-baked, quarter-baked measure because money is available. A government that loves to think, loves to have the impose dependency on the population by handing them out a cash grant. Those of us who did some level of schooling and could have pictured whenever we're doing literature and anything to do with the kings and the serfs and so on, or could go to movies and watch movies like Ben-Hur and so on, and watch how those serfs and minions were kneeling at the feet of the kings and so forth. That is what you have in this country. They have imposed a level of dependency on the population. You have to depend on a handout or a cash grant or a uniform allowance. All the decision making, or most of the decision making, has gradually been taken away from you, the individual. They have now made man and eunuch. That's what they have made man. You are no longer responsible for making decisions because you don't get the income that you are supposed to get, in which you can sit down around the table with your family and make the choices and decisions. These have been taken away from you and are being made by the government. So you have now been removed from an independent being to a dependent being, dependent on the government for a handout. So the government now controls you, controls your space, controls your actions, controls your behavior. You don't bow down to the government, you don't praise the government, you don't get something. You don't get a job, your family don't get a job, you don't get a handout, they bypass your homes, right? And so on. And we have become a nation of whisperers and silencers. Whispers, we whisper now in our conversation because we got to go look east, west, north, south to see if everybody hearing. So we whisper quickly and move on. Because we don't know if Big Brother is watching or who is videotaping and so on. This is what this country has come to. North Korea now is looking like a paradise compared to here now. If you ask 10 people for an opinion, 9.5 say, I don't touch them subjects, but why not me? I can't give you an opinion. And they're running from cameras and so on. That is what we have torn to. That is what this country is torn to, my brother. So they have made us dependent. You hand out some handouts to sugar workers, and you leave the public servants panting for bread. You hand out $1 billion+ in fertilizers to farmers, and the farmers refuse to lower the prices. You hand out how much money to fishermen, and the fishermen remain disgruntled. And so that's how they hand out. And you hand out monies, you pour monies into Amerindian communities, indigenous communities, and the rest of the nation backs off because you don't want to say anything about Amerindians and Amerindian communities because you can hear they're forced people and you're beating up on Amerins and so on. If there are two people that are indigenous to this country, it must be the Amerindians and the people of African descent, Guyanese of African descent. We didn't ask to come here. We were brought here, free people and enslaved, and labor that we had to give completely free. Even after they claimed that we were free, We had to do 4 more years of the very work that we were doing for free because they said we got to learn trade. And that's how we are today. Well, I don't know. More money. So some people, somebody told me to say this oil thing has spoiled again. Again, it was spoiled before. It probably just make us rotten. It probably just has made us rotten.
They say more money just exposes who you are.
Which is what has happened to Guyana.
Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I could leave Mr. Jordan to talk again all morning because there's so many truths in what he discussed with us yesterday. Welcome to the program. How you been? It's 7 hours 29 on the 23rd day of August in the year 2024. How was your yesterday? How was your last night? How are you feeling this morning? You feel like a spring chicken or a geriatric? You know, it's from one extreme to the other. If you fit in between, good for you. Right? If you fit in between, good for you. But man, how you doing? However you're feeling, I hope you're going to get through the day, stay alive, achieve some set goals, and so that in the rising tomorrow you feel like, you know, you can do it all over again. Because that's life. It's a routine. Eat, sleep, shite, wake up, walk. Eat, sleep, shite, wake up, walk. Well, I didn't mention sleep there. Oh, yes, so they're right there. Good. So that's the routine. Good. But it is 7 hours 30. Let's pay some bills. We have some bills to pay. And I encourage you to come down to the Business and Cultural Expo on Sunday. I also encourage you to go down to Ipadaji's conversations on the 31st, starting on the 31st. So let's talk about Do you want to know what happened in 1763 during the Berbice Revolution? On Sunday, August 31st, you can come and hear Professor Marjorie Cars, author of the book Blood on the River. This is your opportunity to learn what really happened hundreds of years ago, and you will hear it from the voices of those who were there. This is the first in the series of Ipadaji Talks on issues relevant to our people. Call 223-8852-3 to reserve your seat. Ipadaji Talks, celebrating our heroes. The Berbice Slave Revolution, Saturday, August 31st, Theatre Guild, Georgetown, 5 p.m. Bring out the family for a day of business, culture, and entertainment this Sunday, August 25, at the CAMS TV Society for African Guyanese Empowerment and 1st of August Movements Business and Cultural Expo at Benjamin's Lawn, the Tipperary or Buxton. Expo starts at 11. Bring out your family. Support services, agro-businesses, manufacturing. Yes, booths available. Call 682-7981 for information. Expo starts at 11. Come out, support the businesses, exhibiting for success.
Region 4, the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union will be hosting its annual general meeting for the period 2021 to 2022 on Sunday, the 25th of August, 2024 for members of Region Number 4. The meeting will be convened at the Critchlow Labor College, Wolford Avenue at 10 hours. Members are encouraged to pre-register at bit.ly/GPSCCU AGM 2024 for further instructions instructions on how to take part in the meeting and to vote for a committee of management. The meeting will take place both online and in person at various locations across the country. Full participation of members is encouraged. Let us move your credit union forward. The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union. People helping people.
First of August movement,
Morning again.
Buxton, Cams TV.
I want to tell y'all something. Well, last year I see Desiree Simmons. Desiree Simmons, good morning. How are you? You know, yesterday I was sitting and I was thinking, I say, there have been some people really stuck with Cams TV from the time we started up until now. And if I were to, I know y'all gonna want to beat me up, but I'm entitled to my opinion. If I were to say that there's one diehard, I will say it's Desiree Simmons. Desiree Simmons, good morning. It's been a long time I haven't shouted you out. How you do? Right there alongside Desiree Simmons, I would find Brenda Casey. But I don't know where Michelle is now. Mrs. Jones? I don't know where Mrs. Jones is. But those are people who readily come to mind when I say, who are the diehards? Who are the people who've been with Cams TV from? Wayne, you notice the share women a call? That is why they say, when you're giving credits, don't ever get to name calling, because some people will beat you up, right? Some people will beat you up. But one of the things I can say in general is that all those persons who, for one reason or other, I would say stumbled upon Cams TV after we started, have stuck with the program. They have stuck with the program. And I thank you all for sticking with the program. Whether you're male or female, whether you're transgender or queer, whatever you are, I'm happy that you've stuck with the program. We are now a family, right? We are now a family. Rhonda, when I think about you and Emily Durant, I think about y'all are angels. Y'all in a different plane, right? Because you've stuck with me through the protests and all of that. And there are lots of people behind the scene, So don't think it is only those that you see continue to make this possible. Good. Big up yourself. Those of you who know that you're behind the scene and you're giving Mr. Amsterdam a little nudge here and a little nudge there and a little pep talk. Because I'm human, Sometimes I feel dumb. And sometimes I feel this burden is too much for one man to carry, and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, I get up and I get it daily. First and foremost, because I think it's duty, right? But secondly, because there are people who give me that little nudge of encouragement. Good. Now that I said that, let me pick a bone with Brenda. Brenda, what's your problem with people talking about geriatrics? It is this fear of people talking or calling you a geriatric or saying you're a geriatric that I think has put such a, what should I say, stigma on the word geriatric. There's nothing wrong with the uses of the term geriatric. What does geriatric mean? Let me go to the one of the online dictionaries, because I don't want us I don't want us to believe that being a geriatric is a bad thing. Relating to old people, especially with regard to their health care, a geriatric hospital, an old person who is receiving special care, right? So you got two general meanings there. One relates to old people. And so when I say geriatric, I'm saying old people. Don't be offended, my sister, right? Don't be offended. Jerry is, as Wayne is saying, got so many privileges that I can't wait for the day when somebody will recognize me for my age and say,
Come to the front of the line, sir. Or Pops. Abigail John likes to call me Pops. Pops, come to the front of the line. I embrace my age. And I embrace everything that comes with it. Good? I usually tell people I ain't frightened of no old age. In fact, I tell people I ain't frightened of death. Old age, I'm afraid of old age and all that comes with it. This morning I wake up, go tomorrow morning, my left knee out in the next morning, my right side ankle hurting and so on. But I give thanks to life. Good? And so stop being offended, my sister. Stop being offended when I say if you feel like a geriatric or a spring chicken. Good? We all have our days. And let me tell you, there are lots of spring chickens or supposed spring chickens who can't mambo. Like us Jerrys, they can't do it. Some of them can't bend and touch their knee much as their toe. Right? Good. Anyhow, yes, we all are entitled to our opinion. Don't worry yourself. It's Free Talk Friday. The lines are open as a matter of fact. The lines are opened. 6225933 is the number to call because it's Free Talk Friday. Good? Let me remind you, or let me say to you first up, those of you who will visit the Cash App today, I will not be able to acknowledge you in real time because I don't have immediate access to it right now. Good? So, but that doesn't mean you should hide behind the fact that I can't see if you're visiting. Right? Good. Remember to support the program, man. Drop something in the Cash App, drop something in the Zelle, find a way to support the program financially and otherwise. Flash Gordon is first out the block as usual. Why y'all always giving Flash Gordon the edge? Flash Gordon always gets to set the tone. Is there wrong with y'all? Call your life.
Good morning to you and all my African black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Because Flash Garden is not a just come on your program. Flash Garden is from grassroots, okay? Good. I pay a lot of attention on your program, and I make it like if it's a daily job I have. Don't mind it, don't pay me. Money is not all. It's love, unity, dignity, support, and honor. That comes before money. Yes. Let me say this to the teachers them. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
To the teachers them, Air Flash Garden go advise you guys again. And I call in name, 3 names I call in. Write them forward. Amanda and Basil Williams. It is time for you guys to give back something to black people, teachers, and them children. Why I'm saying this? The teachers, they have a solid case. For one of you, don't wait until the teachers they call you guys. It is time for you to represent these words Flash Garden always mention. Love, unity, and support. Hello?
Go ahead, Flash, we're hearing you.
Okay. They have a solid case because if the members them did not give like permission to sign off on a deal, they have a case to stop him, and that deal cannot go through. Why? As a union member, they pay him to represent them. They pay him to be the speaker, unless light have in black and white that the teachers they sign and said, okay, if 2 or 3 or 5 not agree with what you sign off for, or whatever you sign off for, all of us still agree. But if the union member didn't agree, take him to court. Move on now, Flash. The question I wanted to ask you yesterday when I get Bob off. When them Jagabat was out of office, they take Mr. Granger to court, CCCJ, for said that Mr. Granger put somebody wrongfully at Jacob seat. Okay, then the CCJ rule in their favor because of what the Constitution direct for the country and for the citizens them. So David going to be after that gentleman to step down. I believe his name is Patterson. And he did so. That is when Jagdio sent look at the thing. Now I'm asking you the question if you know. It is time for the coalition to do the same send body to Jagdio, so Jagdio could put them in the same seat or not. Transguard, you don't know? That's why they're asking you the question. Last before I go. When black people in Guyana stop liking themselves and begin to love themselves, the wicked government and supporters them will stop punish them and keep them in poverty. The only people in Guyana and the government, y'all glad, y'all so glad that the black people in Guyana love you so much that they could stand by and see when the supporters them go for kill them black children going home from school, innocent kids. Black people love you so much. They love you so much that they allow the supporters them to go in school compound and say, hey, black people children, don't come back in the school. This school belongs to Colleen. Fine print. Because if I don't start coming one of these days, we're going to kill you. That is plain talk in fine print. Because if you tell somebody, don't come back here, what is the next action? It's for all them, punish them, and kill them. Black people have to stop loving themselves, stop liking themselves, and love themselves. You know why we're so broke in Guyana? Because we like our money. We don't love our money. Because if black people will love their money, we call people that respect them, but they like their money. Everything for black man in Guyana is like. That's why we punish him. And they got Mark who encourage black leaders to go in the Colleen neighborhood to keep campaign and rally. For do what, my brother Mark? Remember when Mr. Amsterdam go to one of them village to highlight the problem, all of them run away. One, God met one, let stand up and talk to Mr. Amsterdam and let them know what's going on. Jack, you don't tell them when black man come in the road, run them out and all this nonsense. Could the people not leave $45,000 for one picnic a year for vote for coalition? If them come over. Just outside that said, I vote because of my conscience. Let them vote with conscience for change for the coalition. Don't encourage the opposition leaders them to go. I want to invest in the Amerindian neighborhood and remind them what the Dutch minister did to one of them 16-year-old girls. Remind them what the government allowed happen to 20 or 19 young children, young teenagers that died. Oh, by the way, before I go to, it is alleged that why those people died, those young girls died, because majority of them was pregnant. Majority of them were pregnant, and the government pay off for don't mention that. Thank you very much for your weekend, and you guys, my Guyanese brother, I love all of y'all. Have a good weekend. Until Monday.
Thank you for your call, Flash Gordon. You know, sometimes I say questions are asked and answered sometimes in the same breath. Flash spoke about the issue with the GCOM chair, the appointment of the GCOM chair, and former President Guyanese being taken to court, or the government being taken to court, whichever one the interpretation is, because of the appointment. President Guyanese, to be more specific, of Patterson at the time. Right? And the CCJ ruled in the favor of the complainants, let me call them that. It is because the Constitution laid out a particular process or procedure. Call and mute your mic or I will mute you. The Constitution laid out a particular process to follow for the appointment of the GCOM chair. The arguments in court convince the judges that that procedure wasn't followed. You must give kudos to the PPP for going to court on it. How many breach of procedures or breach of constitutional breaches are we seeing now? For the last 4 years or whatever the number is, that are just allowed to slide. Like Flash said, sometimes we like ourselves as against loving ourselves. And Nandalal, that foul, has given his party yeoman's service in terms of running to the courts. I guess he had other party lawyers or other lawyers in the party or associated with the party who supported him running to the courts on every single matter, quite frankly. Kept the coalition on their toes. The coalition in opposition, or let me say the coalition in government, had a lot of lawyers visible. I'm sure I would say they were proud to possess themselves. Legal luminaries. Senior counsel this and senior counsel that and so on and so forth. But once the coalition found itself in opposition, you want to know where these people disappeared. Where did they disappear? Shouldn't they have taken a leaf out of a page out of the book of the PPP and keep them on their toes by going to the courts as often as necessary and possible? And so the question you ask, Flash Gordon, yes, I believe that the opposition members who are lawyers, opposition supposed to get a hotshot team of lawyers, man, should be running to court every minute of the day, because there's so many things that they can run to court about every minute of the day. But unless there's a gravy train, many of them are not willing to give up these services. That's all I can see. With relation to going into Indo-Guyanese communities to campaign, I personally agree that it should be done. I'm not saying it should be the priority, but it should be done. Every political party should want to go to every single possible constituency to make their case election. And so no place must be out of bounds. Just as how the government will come to Buxton, the opposition must go to Lusignan. Flash's focus might be, hey, Lusignan is predominantly Indo-Guyanese. They are already PPP. But they're people. And they also have African Guyanese living among them, in the minority, no doubt, and other ethnicities living among them in the minorities, no doubt. And they also have educated Indo-Guyanese. Some of them do listen to reason. And so if you go and you're able to make the case, then whatever little your reward is, it might make a difference. $99 to buy something that is $100 still needs somebody to put that $1. Call your life.
Good morning, Kidat. Must agree with you on Flash. I see something tossing around on App News page, PNC pages, and those pages around the place, right? And it seems it's a camp. I think it's Enterprise. People put on a cap and got a kids join PPP flags, etc. We can't fix with people. We cannot fix with the people. Psychologists will tell you, and therapists will tell you, you can't. Therapy don't fail most of the time with adults. But once you teach your children from early, it will stick with them for a lifetime. Where is our people to teach our young people about our thing? Where are they? Had we had that, people like Mark Light would not have been existing. Had we had that, Chadwick would not have been able to run up into everybody's face and spread propaganda, because our people would have been strong and know about the facts and be educated politically from young. Where are we? Where are our people to educate the young ones? Nowhere around. Why must we report the PPPs to it with the young ones and think it's wrong? It ain't wrong. I will never say it's wrong. So we feel it failing to do it, we think it's wrong. And another thing, our people are going to quick to say, no, you can't do something like that. Who says so? Who says so? So it's time we start educating our people. There's a lot of education got it done. And I'm talking in classroom. A lot of education is needed. And unless we do that, we're going to be in the same place. We're going to be rocking our same colonial mindset. Unless we decolonize our minds and get with the program, we will never be a power structure like how PPP is a power structure. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for your call. Talking about that Mark Light issue and the teachers issue, a coward called me yesterday. I'm saying a coward called me. Forgive me if my conclusion is incorrect. A coward called me yesterday because the individual waited until I was finished with the program, until I signed off of the program, to call me. And in a gruff voice said, you continue to threaten Mark Light. You continue to threaten Mark Light and mislead the teachers. It's the best the teachers have gotten, or something to the extent. But of course, I didn't hear the complete statement, statement in relation to the best that the teachers have gotten. Because once I realized where it was going, I hung up. I'm inviting that person to call the program now. We're live. And if you can't do that now, then my conclusion is accurate. You're a coward. On the streets, somebody got P-worded as call you. You're a coward. You see, a lot of y'all hide behind the mobile phone and y'all hide behind your computers and so on. And y'all say things to me and say things to people and so on. Like they say Kieran Bruce or Mudwater was hiding. Yeah, Kieran Bruce was hiding behind the Mudwater character, avatar, whatever you call it. The courts have ruled on that and they see, well, based on the ruling, it seems as though Kieran Bruce is Mudwater. I don't know. But Mudwater said a lot of things about a lot of people over the years. I guess most of it or all of it true. But the manner in which it was said, right? They say now you do, it's not what you do, it's how you do it, and so on and so forth. Right? But here we are. You get the opportunity to see me every single morning, every single day. You could study every gray hair on my head, all in my nostrils. Any part of my body that is exposed to the camera, you could study it. So you know who I am. I guess some of you could recognize me from a distance. I know most of you recognize me from my voice, because that has been tested and proven. I've gone many places and just spoke. People, Mr. Amsterdam, Cams TV. A lot of people recognize me from my mode of dress, because I'm always decked out, as they say, in my African garb. Right? So yeah, you have that benefit of knowing me, recognizing me. But you also have what I say, an unfair advantage or a luxury of hiding behind the platform and calling me to intimidate me, etc. That wouldn't bother me. Just understand that. But they say as if you got seed like Balanje, put up your profile picture and call. Don't hide behind no instrument to try to intimidate Mr. Amsterdam. I passed the intimidation stage. Ask them about me since I was a little boy in school. Intimidation don't work. Good? So let me address the teachers issue, the Mark Light issue, the union issue,
and Sitara Gal cussing down like them. I can't even say common market woman because those people provide a service and they must be acknowledged and loved and respected for it. I don't know what label to give Sitara Gal. But the thing, that which walks around with the Labour Minister of Education unfit for the job, had the temerity, the gumption, the gall, the obnoxiousness to make a post cussing out one of the union representatives, accusing them of wanting to derail the negotiations, etc., etc. Let me say this. As leaders, you lead. And you lead with class. Even if you triumph, at the end of the negotiation, a hard, long, winding road, even if you triumph at the end, is something that's called humility. It's something that's called class. When you win, you don't have to dab it in the face of the opponent. That is what makes the difference between a low life, like Sitara Gal, and a person of class and proper upbringing. As it would appear, the government of Ghana and the Ministry of Education got its way. But the verdict is still out. Did they get their way by fair or foul means? There are many of us who believe that it was achieved through foul means. And you can't fault us for that. We live in a society that is highly corrupted. Corruption is the top producer when you analyze the GDP of this country. Trust me. And so the question is, did they get their way? Did they get Mark Light to sign on behalf of the teachers or the teachers' union through fair or foul means? That's the question. I am saying from where I sit, in my opinion, foul means. Foul means. And so if you get away by foul means, then again the lesson is get away and shut up. Shut up. I heard an interesting fact yesterday. The same tissue that is on the lip is the same tissue that is on your anus, because they're two ends of the same tube. Now me says so. The scientists could tell me if it's accurate or not, but I heard it. But sometimes when you hear some people speak, you ask if that tube was being reversed, if they're talking through their anus. Sitara Gal falls in that bracket. Time will tell. It's a small society. They got people who like to talk. And just as how Mr. Jordan said yesterday, there were two agencies that had the letter requesting the opening of the account and somebody leaked it. I am hoping that somebody who was a part of the negotiating team for the ministry, somebody who knows of the backdoor dealings which allegedly took place, will give us a leak, an insight into what really happened. But I'm of the firm belief that the teachers need not respect that which was signed for on their behalf by somebody who was not authorized to sign. And I'm saying somebody was not authorized to sign because, first and foremost, the General Council is split. And if the General Council is split, it means that there is no total agreement for the signing of that agreement. And so anybody who signs is signing with less than 100% support of the General Council. The General Council, which is supposed to be all representatives of the teachers. What percentage? That's something I want to ask. What percentage of the General Council was in favor of this signing? I don't know how many persons make up the General Council, but the question is, what percentage of the General Council was in favor of the signing? Why didn't the General Council go to the membership for ratification of the decision to sign or not sign? Why didn't they? Isn't it the teachers that they called onto the streets to strike, to demand, to push the government into negotiation? So why not return to the teachers for instructions as to how to proceed, especially when there's a split in the General Council? I think common sense would advise that that is what should have been done. And so the federal department went ahead and signed without consulting the larger membership. For me, it's not an agreement that the larger membership ought to respect. Self-determination. Self-determination. And I'm saying again, younger teachers, more vibrant teachers, more conscientious teachers, people in the fraternity must step forward for leadership and get rid of the likes of Mark Light. And those who disrespected the teachers' struggle and signed on the dotted lines for that enslavement policy. That's what I want to call it. I have no qualms about none whatsoever. And if you or whoever you are believe that that's misleading for the teachers, I know our teachers are educated and they're smarter. They're smarter than your president. They're smarter than your education minister. It is their smarts who made those. And so they will determine for themselves. And I hope they determine for themselves and don't allow themselves to be cajoled. Oh, they're going to knock you off just as how the DPP. There's a procedure for removing the DPP from office. There's a procedure for dismissing a teacher. Governments can't fire teachers. It is the Teaching Service Commission which has that authority. Good. And a case must be made for the Teaching Service Commission to fire any teacher, or it could end up in a long, winding legal battle. And people have to understand that. And the lawyers in the opposition must support their constituents by taking up these human interest matters. That is what I call them. Call your life.
Yes, good morning. I'm the person that called you yesterday. I understand you said that I'm a coward, but when I call you, you don't want to face. You cut me off. So I don't know what you're talking about. You coward because you always cutting me off. You don't allow me to express my views. So now you're going behind the scenes talking about coward. But you're the real coward.
Call, I'm always in front of the scene. I'm always in front of the scene. I'm always in front of the camera. Where are you?
I mean, every time I challenge you, you're hanging up the phone because the facts is more than you.
What facts?
You understand?
Spew your facts, sir. Present your facts. Present your facts. I'm listening.
Talking about the General Council, that how the General Council must go back to the teachers. Do you know that the majority is what rules?
What majority? Majority of whom? Is the General Council? You want me reason? Let me reason. I'm asking you this question. Is the General Council the majority of the union?
But of course, there's a decision-making body of the union.
No. The decision-making body of the union is the union membership. They give instructions to their representatives in the General Council.
Sir, come, let me give you an example. When the APNU signed that oil agreement on behalf of Guyana, did they come back to the people and ask them if they could sign it? They're an authority. They went ahead and signed on behalf of the people. So don't mix up this thing. You mixing up and confusing people.
No, sir. No, sir. You are the one that is mixed up. You are the one that is mixed up. It is the teachers. It is the teachers. I am maintaining. It is the teachers who the union went to protest, to bring the government to the table. It is the teachers which gave the General Council instruction, nothing less than 25%. And for as long as you're going to stand for less than 25%, you had a responsibility to return to the teachers and make your case so that they can approve your case if you are the case.
That's your view. That is not how it works.
And I'm entitled to it.
So stop misleading people. That's not how it works. You understand?
You're a sad case.
Pardon me?
You are a sad case.
I'm a sad case. I'm bringing the facts.
What facts are you talking about?
Hiding and trying to
have a good day. I will get nowhere with you, and my program time is costly. Caller Live, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, Caller Live.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
The caller that called to verify, he was the one who called you. I don't think he is fully apprised of the matter. What Mark needs to do is to come out and rebuff the allegations that Coretta and others made. The General Council did not agree to sign. There was a division in the General Council, and it begs a question. Why didn't the General Secretary affix her signature to the agreement? Where Mr. Barrington or Mr. Julian or whatever he has came from. So the optics are damning, and I think Mark Light, the belief on the man of God that he says he is, he needs to come out and to rebuff the allegations that the General Secretary of the GTU made. And I see a deliberate effort to break up the Guyana Teachers Union, which is presently one of the strongest unions, and our people are not seeing that aspect. There is a ploy to break up this union. Thank you.
Thank you, and I must endorse what this call is saying, because Amy, as far as the PPP is concerned, they have already conquered the Public Service Union, and the Guyana Teachers Union is the last man standing. And so once they can destroy the Guyana Teachers Union, then public servants in general, including teachers, have no leg to stand on in terms of form representation. And that is what this PPP is about. They're about union busting. Call it live.
President, good morning to you, but I trust all is well with you and wish you all the best going forward. The battle with the GTU and the president. Now the problem I have is the silence from the teachers. When I say silence, I'm not speaking about the one who may be writing something on the Facebook or Miss Coretta McDonald making a case, because the General Council, why the other General Council members who are not pleased or who feel they were cheated or they were tricked, why did that come out? Why only Coretta McDonald is giving up? Right, you see, that is the problem. The remaining people, the who are tricked, if it was alleged they were tricked, they should have already had a press conference, sit on the table and line up and express the how this thing went down with the president. So they are giving the government or the people ammunition to chastise them, and it is looking like Coretta McDonald is the only bad point in the situation. Mark Lexus already made a statement with the War Wave that no he haven't received any decent advice on the teachers, and no teacher respond to it. Only Coretta McDonald respond to it. There's the problem. They have not come out in a mass outcry, at least from my vantage point, to say that this that you just did, that the union just did, is outrageous. It is wrong. So if they remain silent, or if there is not a major outcry, it is going to continue to look, and the government is going to continue to say that Coretta McDonald is the one causing the trouble. Right? So that is always the problem when you have the government take away the IPAGI model. The government take away the IPAGI. It is said IPAGI has 79 organizations. And all you hear from you hear with the Miss Samson woman, you hear with Vincent Alexander, and a few others. These black organizations are coming out and saying that this government is wrong with it to take away our pre-rent body money. There's no black organization coming out and say anything. So that is the dilemma that they face. When the leaders fail or mislead or fail to represent their people, the masses are not responding, and that is the battle. So unless the teachers pronounce on this matter, because the General Council didn't even strike. Why did the General Council by themselves didn't strike? Right? In my view, Mark like that and company use the teachers as pawns. They use the teachers to put the government on the back foot. They went to the table and negotiate for themselves, in my opinion. Negotiate for themselves. But the teachers need to let the president and the union leaders know that this we are just did. But if they just throw back and relax and shoot, but there was a mayor yesterday barraging the always say why the teachers are responding? Why they are not responding? Only Coretta McDonald. Coretta McDonald is a bad is a thorn in the session of people. So people it need a fresh new voice. Some other executive, some other members of the except 4 people walk out. Who's the other 3 that walk out? These things must be known. This must be known. There shouldn't be no secret. There shouldn't be no back door, no backstage crying. They need to come forward, hold a press conference, make a statement, and then organize a meeting with the teachers and respond to the thing. If not, but then they're comfortable with what was went down. Let me good morning. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Point statement. Well, it just shows what I want to call a malady that we face within this society. Everybody wants one person or somebody to represent them. Nobody wants to put their face, like Mr. Jordan say. Ghana, North Korea is paradise to Ghana these days, because Guyanese have been beaten into subjection and fear to the extent that even for their own rights, they are not prepared to stand up and show their faces, like the coward that just called me. Right? People ask me every day, why you ain't frightened? Oh, every day you're addressing the government and their failings and talking about people and the wickedness they're doing in society. You ain't frightened? And then man know your face, and so you watch hundreds of thousands of people hiding behind this face and asking it to fight their cause. This is the problem. It's the same position Coretta finds herself in. As they say, hell might have to freeze over for you to see the dissenting voices of the General Council members. Not that they are not dissenters, but they rather hide instead of come out and say, I was against the signing. I was against the signing. I was against the signing. Let the world see that the signing wasn't supported by the General Council in its majority, number one, and number two, that the teachers really and truly should have been consulted. Call it live.
Morning, Kadaki, and morning, Guyana. The way I do see it, sir, is that African Guyanese, especially in Guyana, seems to be being outsmart at every turn. It's like we're not seeing the bigger picture. is that we keep capitulating to these racist mafia PPP party. Day in and day out, can we stand our ground? And it reflects bad on our children that to know and to see what we are doing day in and day out. I mean, I'd express that every friggin' week, a request should be made to the information czar about information that is pertinent for us to know. But it seems like nothing is being done. We can't go to the courts for GCOM. Nothing is being done. There's so much things that we should be doing, but nothing is being done. So where does that leave us as a people to challenge all of these stuff that is going on? It leaves us in the dust. It leaves us behind, because even when it comes to leadership, none is happening. None is being provided. So our children have nothing to follow but to follow stupidity and to follow this narrative that we've continued to have, is that, man, they can't do nothing about it and stuff like that. There's so much stuff need to be challenged. But as I think you called it out, the legal fraternity, especially on our part, just turn over and just lie down and take it. And if, as we've been saying for years now, since you've come on the air, we seem to have lost our way. Nothing is being done to actually bolster ourselves and to make us look better in this society. Here's teachers putting their life on the line, but again, the leadership bow down and kowtow to the racist party, and then we have nothing to show. And I think I saw an article where they break it down with the percentage that they got, and over the years, all it amounts to is about 3.4% per year that the teachers got. I mean, and I think a couple of years ago, or a year or two, that they had the opportunity to elect new leadership at the Guyana Teachers Union, and they went back with Mark Light instead of Vanessa Casino and Ms. Coretta McDonald. So I guess we can say, well, they got what they needed. They got what they elected. Someone who isn't for them. And my saying again, when is it we're going to get some sense? But obviously, it's not happening to us, and that's why we're being sentenced. That's my take.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, there's so many angles from which this nonsense could be examined and spoken about. Like the caller is saying, listen, they had the opportunity to vote Mark right away, but they didn't. Let me tell you what I know about the Guyana Teachers Union. Some insiders. First and foremost, all these issues are being discussed on a WhatsApp chat, or more than one WhatsApp chats. There might be regional WhatsApp chats. That is where the issues are being discussed. And Mark Wright knows. And the rest of the General Council know. They know very well that the teachers were not in favor of that signing. They know. Every single one of them. A lot of them, even though they disagree with Mark Wright's position, will not come out publicly and say it. Because there are always those who want to stay in the quote-unquote good books of this so-called leader because there are perks to have. There are perks to be had. Overseas training I didn't criticize a man, you're going to send me. Or I didn't criticize a woman, they're going to send me. They're going to carry me as part of the entourage. Guyanese are so poverty-stricken that they sell their integrity for little or nothing. A trip from Georgetown to Linden is important to them because, caller, because ordinarily they can't afford it or they say it's too expensive based on the starvation wages they're getting. So a lot of people, they're quietly selling their integrity, quietly condoning wrong, simply because they see little soup for them along the way. It is a selfish society. People are alleging that Mark Light's master's or whatever, doctorate, whatever, was paid for by PPP government funding. Even if it were a scholarship, it's we money. But we in the society believe that we are indebted to governments when they use our resources to facilitate our needs or our requests. And so, I got another one on the opposition side. I ain't going to touch it. As we ain't going to done cost from now till the year end. The man paid for me education so the man could do no wrong. The man paid for my daughter's education so the man could do no wrong. The woman paid for my son's education. The woman can't do any wrong. Governments through agencies do what they're supposed to do for the citizens. And we got people in the society feel that they are indebted to them. It's a mindset that we have to change. Why y'all think I just come here and make it plain and straight? I would love to have your contributions on this program. But that doesn't mean that you will dictate how it goes. I ask you to support me in doing the work that I'm doing. And I ask you to bridle me. Some people treat support as bridling. They say a mouth is muzzled by the food it eats. But I will tell you that the person eating the food got a choice. Because they could spit it out so that they don't have to be muzzled. The lines remain open. I think I might have some voice notes. And please, I'm reminding you all, when you call the program, please mute your microphone until I ask you to take over. Good? Good. So I am waiting for your calls. Let me see if we have some voice notes. I know there are going to be many. Let's start with this one. Abigail John, you need a consultant? Call me when I get off the program.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, my question is this morning, why is Mr. Jagview are saying that Mr. McDonald is the opposition? The rest is not the opposition, or they're from a different party? That's my question.
Well, that's a basic question for me. The answer is right there before your eyes. She's one of the dissenting voices to the signing of that slave agreement. So she's an opposition to it. But Jagview generally is trying to make it out that Coretta McDonald is the devil because she dares to, as General Secretary of the Union, say we ain't signing that agreement because it doesn't represent the interests of our teachers. And what does he hang around her neck? Because she is an opposition parliamentarian. She doesn't have the interest of the teachers at heart. She just wants to derail the process in the name of opposition politics. What foolishness. What foolishness. She has a mandate from our teachers. And it is that mandate that she has to represent. As she asked, I think I saw a news report with her last night, as she asked, why is the Gahu president not accused of political, I would say political interference or political preference when they call strikes in Gaisuku and within hours they're getting paid or they're getting their demands met? Why Jagdeo doesn't talk about that? And so many of us listen to Jagdeo and the foolishness, and some people say, yeah, for truth, she's a coalition opposition parliamentarian and she shouldn't be general secretary. She shouldn't be general secretary. Why should he be president of the union? Sometimes the double standard we got. Call it life.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. Now, when you're talking about Gawu, look at the late comer channel we used to be. It's just so this one behaving. Now, when it comes to the teachers, well, you know, I don't really think, but the teachers' union had needed the support of other unions with this strike that they had. After the 1st of May, when I went to the rally, where my friend up to now, she is still impaired from the fracturing issue too. She can't make it today. She's going back to the hospital. We were not teachers. I cannot work. I'm over 63. So I wouldn't go now into government employment. Teachers who were supposed to be with the teachers on the strike didn't go. They went to the home of the installed president for breakfast. Now, this thing with Mark Light, from the inception, when Mark Light got into the area where he is now occupying, he started to walk the way of the PPP. I don't want to say and end up in cybercrime. I think he had some brush with the law, with some alleged sex thing at the school where he was. And a lot of things are being whirling around. And we know once you look to be tainted, the PPP does take you and make you into a whipping boy, as they have done with Mark Light. When they had the election for the same position that he got, fraudulently, we saw the way how they maneuvered the teachers voting, like what they did in the general election, to put him in where they could have their hands on him. They said, jump, he got to say how high. And from then is when he started in his way to destroy the teachers in this country. Now, 10% is no money. When we listen to Minister Jordan talking about how much billions they collect and where the money is against that of the 18 million that they keep talking about, we can all see what is going on with this country. Who they choose to give money to, they give money to. And who they don't choose, they don't give. Coming back to this teacher story, when the chief education officer was found in contempt of court, you see things got away, you push this aside and you get a domino effect. If the judge had done what he was supposed to do, put the man in jail for contempt of court, I believe that the installed regime would have treated the teachers better. But he allowed the man who is supposed to be an educator to understand a simple judgment of the court, to do what he did, and all he got was a reprimand. No, you do something wrong, go down for it. And if the judge they do that, the government would know, you know what? We got to deal properly with these teachers, because in the event we don't deal in the right way, they will go to the court, and the court is taking the full steps. Why call yourself the arm of justice? And when justice is to be given, because of your political persuasion, you walk aside. And then you got people who don't deserve the full wrath of the law because they are not favored by the installed regime. They got to go down. So things in Guyana, I don't think it will come good. I don't know when. And when it comes to the DPP, people just tell themselves that you get a position, you cannot be moved. I could remember it had a bad girl at GCOM in the name of, she dead now, she's from thing. When you think that all is sweet and dandy, there is a time. And when you see the right time come, man can't move the chief, you can't move the DPP, but something greater than you and I will remove the DPP. And when you see that thing whatsoever remove the DPP, that would be like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put back Humpty Dumpty together again. Yesterday, Kadaki, I'd like to send a profound thank you to all who gave donations, special thanks to Dr. Hines, and all who in whatever way assisted the majorettes. We went to Barbies, hosted by the mayor, His Worship Mayor McIntosh. We had a wonderful trip. I traveled on the big bridge, Kanji Bridge. So thanks to all of you who have made it possible for the majorettes to have a lovely time yesterday. And that has brought me to the end of my little comments. Bye-bye.
Thank you. You got voice notes. I wish to play some, I said. Y'all permit me.
Morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Who this guy bringing facts to? You gotta go and tell them dunce people. You gotta go and tell them dunce people the facts. Because we want the facts. So they keep it to itself.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. That guy would just finished talking about the union and the General Council, which Mr. Amsterdam, he claimed that Mr. Amsterdam is Scotty ass. Now, he is supposed to know properly that the teachers is who does elect the body to represent them. In any union organization, you're supposed to report back to the workers or back to the teachers as we call it, workers. So forget the information whether they're in favor of the agreement was proposed by the government or whoever company. Then before they go back and sign. It is too long overbearing that a lot of union representatives they jump the IRS and go and sign agreement behind workers' back, throwing them in the bus. Something has to be done concerning these things with these people is do. It's too long overbearing. Sometimes they're in the heat of a discussion when they're supposed to go back to the workers, some of them is hide it, being back and tell the workers nothing. They sign overnight and they run away with murder. Right? Showing a lot of thousands of people on the bus. It's time you get rid of these people. They're no damn good. If they continue like that, we will never get nowhere. Who taking pay on the table or what's not? A time will come. In the later days, they're going to understand who is it all about. Now, the 10%. You're taking one side, benefits. When the time comes that the teachers got to resign and you're paying your NIS, they're taking on your best of your last 3 years. The teachers, them going to end up losing out they will end up falling in a low category because their money is not enough to work on the percentage. When you do work on the percentage on them, you get 60%, yes, but your salary was just 80,000, it will say $100,000 a month. We say $200,000 a year. 60% of 200,000, you're gonna the minimum. Then you're gonna hold your head and bad because them benefits don't come in on when you're supposed to get old age pension, old age and yes. Then trying to remember this thing, you know. Anyhow, I can't remember everything. So I'll take my leave. But that guy, he too one-sided. You gotta know proper union laws before you could think about. Anyway, have a nice day and a blessed day.
Thank you for that call. And I can tell you this this voice note came from someone who has been active in the unions in this country, especially in Linden. And you know, I am really, really happy for the point that he has made. Because one of the things Mark Wright and his so-called supporters and Satire Gad and all of them keep arguing is that the non-salary benefits are great. But how does the non-salary benefits affect the long-term benefits of the teachers? Pensions and gratuities and so on are not calculated on uniform allowance, whether it has been doubled, tripled, or quadrupled. Pensions and gratuities and so on are not calculated on whether you get a meal allowance. They're calculated on your salary. So it is the salary benefits that are important in these negotiations. And if Mark Wright is saying he doesn't know that, or those who support Mark Wright and even those who support the kleptocratic government, the cabal, and I know they know that. And that is why they're insisting that they're not going to increase the salaries by meaningful percentages, because at the end of the day, they don't want those workers to get meaningful pensions and proper upward mobility. You can't take uniform allowance to the store. You can't take it to the bank to increase your savings so that you can get a mortgage. No, uniform allowance is that. And in most instances, uniform allowances are given by vouchers, and you got to go to this particular place and that particular place and buy your cloth or uniform and all of that. So these so-called allowances that they're giving, the non-salaried benefits, are not in any way improving the teachers' opportunities for upward financial mobility. And that is what is important here. And people masquerade as leaders, and masquerade that they got a interest of their supporters and followers and so on at heart, and fail to take this long-term impact into consideration, are not people worth their salt. And the people who are beside them have to decide whether or not they will kick them to the curb or continue to have them use them as stepping stones to where they want to get. I see somebody saying they understand. It is alleged that Mark Wright is married to an Indian woman and they have a supermarket. I can tell you, that the Borbician sent me a whole trove of information on Mark Wright. I would say from the time he was a sperm to where he is right now. But I don't get into the personal. Coretta McDonald, welcome to the program. I can extend the program. Call me and let's talk more about this situation if you have any information to share. My program is always open to you guys. Y'all don't make use. Y'all always waiting for I call y'all. Yes, Coretta, if you would like to call and talk with the viewers and clarify some of these issues, I would like you to. As a matter of fact, I would love for you to call me because I am saying that the negotiations did not reach the end, the ultimate end. Because at some point in time, there should have been arbitration. I don't think the unions have gone to, and their employer went to arbitration. Arbitration is the final stage when nobody could agree on anything. An arbiter comes in, listens to both sides, examine the numbers, and say, well, hey, this is gospel. I'll make an arbitrary award. And that is it. Everybody accepts it. But I don't think we went there. And so again, Mark Light jumped the gun. And the general counsel, even if the general counsel were to agree to sign. Call it life.
Morning, Brother Kadaki and all your viewers. Coming back to this issue with the teachers and this.
Caller, I'm sorry, I will disconnect you. I really need to take this call from Coretta. You'll call me back. Madam General Secretary, good morning. The mic is yours. Hello?
Good morning to you, Mr. Kadaki Adams, and good morning to your listeners.
Hi, my name is Amsterdam. Don't disrespect my mother.
I can't hear you, sorry.
My name is Amsterdam, not Adams.
Sorry, Amsterdam. Oh gosh, very good.
Go ahead.
So many names are going through my head at this time. Again, good morning to you, Kadaki. How are you doing?
I'm good, or living, I should say.
All right. Oh.
So tell us what's happening. Tell us about this story, man.
You know, Kadaki, what transpired on Wednesday especially was a stark reminder of what transpired in Parliament on the night of the 18th of December, I think it was.
That sounds like a deterrent situation.
Full. And let me start from there. We turned up at that meeting on Wednesday after we left the previous meeting 1 week before, saying officially that we did not accept, or we weren't going to accept, or that we rejected 10%. We left that meeting agreeing that we were going to communicate via email, and that is the Ministry of Education, GTU. We were going to communicate via email on the next meeting date because they highlighted then that there will be the start of the Tushhouse Council, and she couldn't give us a definite date. I remember saying to her, so many things are popping up, and it seems as if teachers' issues are not important. However, we'll await your email. Subsequently, we learned on Sunday last that our meeting at the ministry will continue on Wednesday. This meeting was supposed to continue because we did not conclude on many of the issues that have been signed on to. My colleague from Bartica, who represents the teachers from Upper Mass and Bartica and all its environs around there, he was our spokesperson on hinterland affairs and what happens there. And he was the young man who was defending our proposal in terms of what we were asking for our teachers in the hinterland. That was not concluded. We did not conclude on the housing revolving project. We did not conclude on the house blocks. We did not conclude on the health risk allowance aspect. And more so, we were not conclusive on the issue of the 10%. So that document that has been signed, it's a premature document that has been signed. And I must let our viewers know that you're going to hear the talks about duty-free concessions and scholarship moving to how much percent and this moving to how much percent. But the fact is, while you're hearing that senior teachers will receive duty-free concessions, all senior teachers will not receive duty-free concessions because it's only 150 duty-free concessions that have been granted. We were accustomed to having 150 has been added to the 300 that we propose in our proposal in the proposal. And so that 150 has got to be distributed to teachers across this country. And we know that we have the categories are heads, deputies, heads of departments, and senior masters, mistresses. And you know, Kidaki, that we have more than 150 senior masters and mistresses across this country, more than 150 head teachers. And mind you, this is a one-off duty-free. So those who have collected already and the new ones who are ready to collect now, there is a quota system for every educational district across this country. So when you divide 150 amongst 4 grouping, you will understand how many each category will receive. And so there are still going to be head teachers, deputies, SMs, HODs who are eligible but will still not be able to acquire that benefit. And so all senior teachers will not receive that. And I needed to get that out of the way because that's what they're throwing out there. Senior teachers will receive duty-free. This scholarship, it's only 150 teachers who will receive, 100 teachers who are going to receive this scholarship awards. And again, it's not all teachers, it's 100 teachers. And this has to be spread across the country. And so in this package, it does not give way for teachers to actually benefit meaningfully from this. There are 2 areas in this proposal that all teachers will benefit from, and they are the salary increase and the clothing allowance. Now, this proposal that has been signed by Mark Light and Julian Cambridge flies in the face of the membership of the Guyana Teachers Union because the General Council was deceived by Mark Light. And let me say to you and your viewers, General Council meeting was called at a time when the President was fully aware that many of our General Council reps would have been out, including central officers. On that very day, I had Parliament. There was no consultation between any of us and the President. A meeting was sent, message was sent in the group at about somewhere between 6 and 6:15 of the very morning for a 10 o'clock meeting. That in itself flies in the face of what is protocol. You're supposed to have a 7 days notice. In case of an emergency, you must have a day or so notice or 2 days notice for a meeting of that magnitude. The agenda for that meeting stated updates on salaries negotiations. And I don't know how come updates would have resulted in a voting. Now, the General Council reps came there. They had no mandate from the teachers in their branches across the country. They were never told that they're coming there to vote. And if that was supposed to have been the case, then those reps should have been able to say to their members, this is what the position is, and we have to vote. How do you feel about that? Nothing of this sort happened. And so this entire process was a process that was orchestrated by Barrett Jagdew, and Mark Light bought into that, deceiving teachers all along the way. Just the same way he deceived us when we turned up at that meeting and we were looking at all of the clauses there and we were changing this word and putting in this word, changing phrases to make sure the issues that were agreed upon, that we put those aside so that we can work on the major issues like the salary increases that we did not agree on. Lo and behold, when we were finished looking at those aspects and putting in a word here, putting a comma there, ensuring that we were very specific on the issues that were agreed on, we were told that, okay, we've completed this now. We're going to print, and Dr. Light, we're printing so that we can sign off. And everybody was like, sign off? Sign off on what? Sign off on what? I can tell you Mark Light is a very barefaced, dishonest, and deceptive person. And I'm saying that because I have a right to say it. We turned up at that meeting. We were asking before, let's meet so that we can decide on where we're going when we get to that meeting. That was ignored by Mark Light. And so everybody took it for granted, excepting for the two who signed on. Because, and let me say to you, what transpired there was already planned. Because on that day, the document did not even have the signing officer's name on it. According to our constitution, there are 3 signing officers: the president, the general secretary, and the first vice president. But on that document, it had Julian Cambridge's name and Mark Light's name. So you're seeing that the plot was already plotted.
Carter, let me interrupt you for one bit on that signing officers matter. Given the fact that those who signed were not the signing officers according to the union's constitution, let me see, can it be challenged?
Well, Kadaki, I'm not going to go into that right now. Some things are better left unsaid. Just respectfully accept
Proceed.
that. But I'm saying to you that if you look at the sequence of what transpired on Wednesday, by the time that document, those persons, of course, we walked out of the room after we were arguing there. We walked out of the room because we weren't going to be part and parcel of that. And so you had the immediate past president there who was saying to Mark, like, we cannot do this now. Let's go to the union. I said to him, we cannot be arguing here. Let's go to the union. Say to the ministry, we're going to be returning in another 2 hours or another day. We cannot do this. Mark Light ignored all of that. So you had the rep from Bartico, which is Region 7. You had the immediate past president, the general secretary, the rep from Upper Dem, who's also a member of the committee. You had the deputy general secretary there. There was the first vice president. You had the regional vice president, Esiquibo. And all of these persons were saying, we should not do this. Well, they silence is consent because the first vice president was not saying anything, neither was the RVP Esiquibo saying anything. But the other 5 persons were very, very vocal in saying, this should not be. We did not agree to this. While you were saying that General Council made a decision, General Council made a decision without the mandate from their membership. And like you rightfully said, this is a halfway process. We did not exhaust this negotiations process. We did not exhaust that first phase so that we can move on to the second phase and then move on to the third phase. We were there. There were several offers that were made by the Ministry of Education. And every time you rejected one, they came with a new one with a 1% added. You rejected that one, they came with another one. And so we know that if we had gone a little more for another week or another 2 weeks, then we could have had more coming out of that. But the actions portrayed by Mark Light and Julian Cambridge leaves lots and lots and lots of suspicions in the minds of teachers, in the minds of non-teachers, in the minds of even our learners, because they're all asking the same question. 10%? Now, I want to say to us, if the non-salaries benefits were in the favor of our teachers, then we had no problem signing on to the 10%. But the non-salaries benefits are meager. We proposed in that proposal $1,500 for the marking of SBAs because we know how tedious it is to have to go through the cases to mark that. The Ministry of Education proposed $500. We argued around it. And then you had a few persons, Mark Light, of course, championing that, okay, at least it's the first time it's happening, so we got our tools in. And I mean, these guys, it's sad that I have to say these things, but this guy has no decency within him, none whatsoever. And mind you, it's not every secondary school teacher who's going to be marking SBAs. Not every primary school teacher will be marking grade 6 exams, the mock exams paper. Not every So again, this does not benefit the entire fraternity. And if you're going to bargain, then you must ensure that the areas where the majority of your members are going to benefit, that those benefits must be tangible. All that teachers are exposed to here now with that 10% when you take out the taxes, all that will remain is 5.5%. Now, this is what teachers struck for 75 days for. This is what we had the support of the internationals. We had the support of the Guyanese public with us, the majority of Guyanese with us. This is what we allowed our children to be away from school for. I think somebody wasn't thinking right along the line. And this here should cause not only teachers, but it should cause Guyanese in general to recognize that you have to examine the horns when they come on board, because many will come with very nice, smart faces and very cunning attitudes, but behind all of that is the real person, the real defective person who will lead us astray. So we have to be very alert at this time, so that when we are going to make other decisions that will impact the lives of Guyanese, that we are going to be certain when we are identifying and selecting persons that they have our best interest at heart. I will close by saying, all along, the Teachers Union Negotiations Committee and its officers were engaging their members. And then suddenly, there was a non-engagement with the members. And of course, you know why the president chose to do live on Facebook rather than doing the engagements that we were all accustomed to be doing, having Zoom meetings where we can interface with our teachers. They can ask us questions, we can answer their questions, they can voice their displeasure. We sit and we listen to them, and we say to them, okay, we're sorry that we went away, but we are taking your suggestions into place, and we are going to change this part. We're going to change this part. But Mark Light already had a plan, and that's what he executed on Wednesday.
Thank you very much for that update, Correct. I'm not going to even question you. It's 9 o'clock, and like you said, some things are better left unsaid. So I rather not ask you to reveal where you or the union members are going from here. But thank you very much for the update. At least the viewers understand clearly. I want to say it was clearly, in my mind, it was clearly orchestrated for that quote-unquote consultation to happen in your absence, because you've been standing on the side of the teachers, and all those who have been standing on the side of the teachers, I think, and maybe that was the plan hatch. Let us ask for the postponement of these negotiations because of these things that the ministry has to be involved in. And then we know for a fact, because obviously Sitara Gal as a parliamentarian knows that there was going to be a parliamentary sitting. We're going to call it a sudden meeting when Shane there, and when the rest of them can't attend. That's how I see it, and that's how I call it. Thank you again.
And let me say to you quickly, Kadaki, I signed on to that meeting, but of course Parliament was in session, so I could not be making any form of representation. But it was after a teacher kept calling me, one of our general council reps, she kept calling me, and I was wondering, why is she calling me? She should be there, the general council meeting, she should be there to get the update so she can, relate same to our members. And then I said, let me answer this call. When I answered, then she said to me, Miss, sir, Mr. Light is saying ABC to us, and I know this is not true from where we have been listening. I know that this is not true, and he's now asking us to vote on it, and I'm not going to vote, so you need to come in. By the time I got from where I was to be able to join, to express how I feel, the voting began. Of course, I voted against that. And that was when General Council reps was able to get an update, a real update from me. General Council reps then began saying, I'm retracting my vote. I'm retracting my vote. This was not said to us. That was not said to us. I'm retracting my vote. But of course, by the time he got the vote from the folks, he ended the meeting, And so when I posted in the group and general council reps started retracting their votes, all the president could say is that a vote was already taken. He was not concerned about what the reps were saying after that. And so this was indeed a plan that was hatched to throw teachers under the bus, to bring more hardships to them, and to create the atmosphere for the regional educational officers and even direct government officials to victimize our teachers. I can tell you what is happening to our teachers on the Essequibo Coast, especially Mr. Martin Samaru, who has been very vocal. He is at this time undergoing the severest of victimization. Other teachers across this country, in Upper Dem, Linden especially, our teachers in Pokwani, our teachers in Region 6, our teachers in Georgetown, our teachers on the East Coast, they are being victimized by their education officers who are carrying out mandates that would have been given to them by those at Central, by the senior officers at Central Ministry, because they have pinpointed all of those teachers who were very vocal. Our head teachers who are out there are being victimized at this time. And this is what Mark Light has signed our teachers on to. But a new day is coming.
Thank you again, Coretta. All those, I want to say this before you leave, because I want you to hear me say it. All those who believe that Mark Wright is so upright, encourage him to sue Coretta McDonald for the things that she has said. Thank you, Coretta. Have a good day.
You're so welcome. Have a good one.
She didn't hide behind social media to say it. She said it on this program. She said it loudly and clearly. And if the man is so concerned about his integrity and his character, then he should sue her, man. He should sue her. Because according to Bart Jagyo, she is an opposition element that wants to derail the processes. You all heard what transpired? Mark Light has his side. He can come and tell us. If he calls now, I will extend the program. But he will be questioned, because I want to know, for example, why you didn't go back to the teachers? Why did we bring the thing to a sudden end when you had other levels to go to? Right? I keep saying it was abrupt because you have not reached the stage where you could have gone to arbitration, and arbitration is ultimate. If I really have the interests of my people at heart, and I'm fighting for them is do or die, then we would have gone to arbitration. But no, not at all. And somebody said the other day, I was threatening Mark, and I said, we live in a society where people allow their rights to be bargained and sold for. And those who bargain and sell their rights do not have to look over their shoulders. It's not a threat. It's an observation. It's an observation. In societies where people really treasure their rights, are concerned about the well-being of their next generations, behaviors such as these don't take place. At least they don't take place frequently. Too often, we have people who purport to have the national interest at heart, or the interest of a specific group at heart, using those who they claim to represent as a bargaining chip to fatten their pockets, cushion their beds, feather their pillows, without giving a rat's ass about the long-term, long-reaching impact of their decisions. You all have a great day. Listen back to the program. You will hear some of the names. Yeah, Jamal is making a good point. I'm sure many teachers would have supported the supermarket that Markite allegedly has because it's one of theirs. Maybe people should start going in another direction. So the same squeeze they're feeling by a bad agreement signed by Markite will feel by the non-support of his commercial interests. That's a good idea, Jamal. Thank you for planting that seed. Y'all have a good day. Remember to hop across to the Cash App, leave something. But most importantly, ensure you come out to the Business and Cultural Expo on Sunday. And let me remind you that the Ipadaji talks are going to take place.
Do you want to know what happened in 1763 during the Berbice Revolution? On Sunday, August 31st, you can come and hear Professor Marjorie Cars, author of the book Blood on the River. This is your opportunity to learn what really happened hundreds of years ago, and you will hear it from the voices of those who were there. This is the first in the series of Ipadaji talks on issues relevant to our people. Call 223-8852-3 to reserve your seat. Ipadaji talks, celebrating our heroes. The Berbice Slave Revolution, Saturday, August 31st, Theatre Guild, Georgetown, 5 p.m. Bring out the family for a day of business, culture, and entertainment this Sunday, August 25, at the CAMS TV Society for African Guyanese Empowerment and 1st of August Movements Business and Cultural Expo at Benjamin's Lawn, the Tipperary Hall, Buxton. Expo starts at 11. Bring out your family. Support services, agro businesses, manufacturing. Yes, booths available. Call 682-7981 for information. Expo starts at 11. Come out, support the businesses, exhibiting for success.
Region 4, the Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union will be hosting its annual general meeting for the period 2021 to 2022 on Sunday, the 25th of August, 2024 for members of Region Number 4. The meeting will be convened at the Critchlow Labor College, Wolford Avenue at 10 hours. Members are encouraged to pre-register at bit.ly/GPSCCU AGM 2024 for further instructions on how to take part in the meeting and to vote for a committee of management. The meeting will take place both online and in person at various locations across the country. Full participation of members is encouraged. Let us move your credit union forward. The Guyana Public Service Cooperative Credit Union. People helping people.
First of August Movement Buxton, CAMS TV, and Society for African Guyanese Empowerment invite you to the Business and Cultural Expo this Sunday at Benjamin's Lawn opposite Tipperary Hall, Buxton. Expo starts at 11 a.m. Come out, support your service providers, agro-based businesses, and manufacturers. Yes, the Buxton Business and Cultural Expo. Bring out the entire family for a day of fun and business. Come one, come all. Booths available. Exhibitors call 682-7981 for more information. The Business and Cultural Expo, exhibiting for success.